I am so upset that Bobby Wasabi was not in this movie. We needed you, Bobby Wasabi. Hard Eyes is directed by Josh Rubin and is another slasher killer movie for this upcoming Valentine's Day week. So, what do we think about it? Well, let's talk about the categories and give it a score. Acting. So, you got Olivia Holt, who's your main character. You got Mason Gooding, who's the love interest guy. And you got a bunch of other people in this film. This film is interesting. I don't watch trailers, so I don't know if the vibe of the film was portrayed within the trailer, but it's interesting. And it's a good interesting. It's not a bad interesting. The chemistry between Holt and Gooding is honestly really, really good. They are believable. The way that they interact with one another is believable, and I really appreciate it. They have more depth than what meets the eye, and they explore that within the film, and I really appreciated that. They didn't really have any moments where I felt, oh, they're really bad at acting. No, they're good. You also have a few other names in there that I won't name because I think it's a spoiler. There are some surprise cameos in this film, and I really appreciated it because I just kind of sat there and went, no way. Now, are they in big roles that have meaning to the plot? No, but I want you to go in there. I want you to experience it for yourself. But with the style of the film, it's really hard to kind of narrow down how good the acting was because, yes, they are full on into what this film is encompassing in terms of what it's trying to say, but also the general vibe of it all. So I'm only going to give it a half a star out of 1 within this category. Visuals. Listen. Come close. I don't know how to break this to you. You ever look at something and you go, that looks too good, like way too good, way too clean, way too nice? That's what this movie feels like. The cinematography is too good to the point to where I didn't like it. The image is probably the cleanest image I have ever seen to the point to where it literally looks like a commercial. The whole thing looks like a very long commercial, and I have issues with that. It doesn't have that cinema look, and it bothered me from the start to the finish. The gore, the kills, all of that is really good, and I really appreciate it, and they went all the way out, balls to the wall with it. So, yeah, that's great. But when it comes to the cinematography, the movement is really good, but the image is just way too clean, and I didn't like it. I would have only liked it if they were going in a direction I thought they were going to go, but they didn't. So with all that being said, I'm just going to give it a half a star out of 1 within this category. Audio. Well, you got your classic Valentine's Day songs, your classic love songs. You got all those embedded throughout the entire film. You have some good score that's thrown in there. You also got some cool sound effects, the gory sound effects. All of that kind of encompasses this movie, and I really enjoyed it. I am just upset that Heart Eyes as a slasher killer didn't get a cool theme. Sometimes they just need iconic music to make them more iconic, and this is just not there. Yeah, you can hear everyone clearly. You can hear the blades slashing and slicing. You can hear the arrows flinging and flying. You can hear all of that, and it's really good. I at least don't have the same thing to say about the audio that is just too clean. I don't think you can get too clean of audio unless it sounds like ADR, which in this film, there is plenty of it, and it's obvious, and it makes me go mad. So with all that being said, I'm just going to give it a half a star out of 1 within this category. Story. This was frustrating. I liked the direction they were going for. It is a pseudo-serious, pseudo-parody film. Like, it's a fusion mix where it's making fun of it, but it's also being self-aware and it's being smart. There's a lot of aspects that I loved about it. The comedy lands so hard. I didn't know it was going to be a comedy style like slasher movie, and that really spoke to me. As someone who really likes the dark humor in Cold Pursuit that was a few years ago, I really enjoyed it here as well. The jokes in some of the darkest moments landed. These small little details that show personality, it lands. But you want to know what doesn't land? The twist. Not only do you see the twist coming from a mile away, but they did something in this film where I genuinely said, I like it. I like it. It's so funny. It's so smart. I enjoy it. And then they just go the typical route, and I go, why? You had something just right there in the grasp, and then my mind went clink, 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 and I was like, holy crap, what if they do this? And I was like, if they do it, masterpiece, brilliant, so funny, so smart, so meta. And then the movie ends, and I will go, why? It's really frustrating when a movie has something going for it and it's not capitalized on. This film has that tenfold because 90% of this movie is solid, really solid. And then the last 20 minutes dive off the tracks, fall, crash, burn, boom. That's why I'm only going to give it a half a star out of 1. Enjoyment. I enjoyed 90% of this film. I really enjoyed it. I haven't laughed in the theater quite like this one in a long time, and I appreciated it. I loved the pacing, I loved the swerves, and I loved it all to about a certain point, and then it, again, goes off the rails. It goes from being this really smart, kind of parody-esque meta response to slasher films that's just really unique, and I really enjoyed it. And then it feels like the studio went, "Oh, you're doing a slasher film? Let's do this." And they go, "Well, that's just like this movie." And they go, "So the people will like it." And I'm sitting there going, I didn't like this decision. Are the kills cool? Yes. Are the characters great and funny? Yes. Am I disappointed by the last 10% to the point to where it completely frustrates me? Yes. When I say this film went from a 4, 3.5, 3 to now what it'll be, I kind of went, that is a tragic off the rails downfall within the last 20 minutes. So enjoyment only gets a half a star out of 1 within this category. So if you're keeping track at home, that means Heart Eyes gets 2.5 out of 5 stars. I think the film is okay.